One of the main things you'll notice is that this course has a series of lessons and activities. Each lesson has an activity associated with it. So if we look at one of the lessons, this is the first lesson, Introduction to Astronomy. It has a number of pages that you can select, and you can do this in a number of ways. You can use the buttons here to step through the pages, or you can use the table of contents which appears on the left of your screen. You also have the option of bringing the whole lesson up as a single web page like this. Then you have the whole thing in one go. You can scroll through it. And this has a number of advantages. So one of the things you can do now is, if you want to, you can just print the whole lesson. You'll be able to build up a hard copy record of the course. Then if you look at the tabs at the top of your browser, the lesson will have opened in a new tab. You can take that tab and you can drag it off the main window, and then you have the whole lesson in its own window. And what this enables you to do is to bring up the activity and the corresponding lesson at the same time. So if we go back to the main page, we can then select Activity 1. And so we have the activity and the lesson on our screen at the same time. And that's very useful because they're closely related. So you should find it very useful to have the lesson when you're working through the questions in the activity. So let's look at the activity. Again, this has a series of pages, and you have to go through these pages in sequence. The next button will take you on to the next page. You'll notice there's a progress bar at the top of the screen that tells you how far you've got to go through the activity. And some of these pages will have questions on them. So here's a page with a question. You have to answer that question, and when you've selected what you think is the right answer, you hit the check button. And if you answer it correctly, you'll move on to the next page. If you don't answer it correctly, you'll get some feedback that should help you to figure out where you went wrong. You generally have to get a question right before you can move on to the next page. Now you'll find some of the questions in the activities have marks associated with them, and some don't have marks. So this particular question, it says for 0 marks. You're not actually getting marked on the answer to this question, but you still have to get the question right before you can move on to the rest of the activity. Within both the lessons and activities, you'll find that there's both videos, animations, and simulations. So if we look through the lesson, here's a simple animation. Here's a video that you can play. And here's a simple animation. And another here. As you work through your series of activities, if you go back to the main Moodle page, you'll see that each activity has a little checkbox associated with it. This will automatically get ticked when you completed the activity and you have a grade for it. So these will enable you to see how you're going with your activities and how you're progressing throughout the course. The activities on this course don't have any set completion date, so it's up to you to manage your time. So we'd recommend that the 4 activities in Module 1 you complete within the first 2 weeks of the course. It's not a good idea to let them all build up and try and complete them all at the end of the semester. So these checkboxes will help you keep track of how you're going.